the best unedited version of a spot for aspiring and growing entrepreneurs.
I'm Gervais Nelson alongside with my amazing co-host.
CEO Marie Rose, CEO of Rosebud Studios, and founder of Rose Petals to Success. We are here with our amazing, sorry, Jovis.
No, we're not used to it. Our machines down. We just go on with it.
Yes, we are here with our amazing guest, which is Miss Kim Avant Bab. Nice to meet you here with us. So we are definitely here to have some fun and especially be able to give the information from our experience to entrepreneurs that are trying to grow their business.
With that said, Miss, please tell us who you are, what you do it for, and a little bit about your business and how long you've been in business for.
Absolutely. So I am Kim Avant Bab, as you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I am a entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. And I say that because I've had some great opportunities both in my professional life and in my personal business building life. So from a historical perspective, born and raised in Philadelphia, we just sleep in South Jersey right now for the last 30 years, but homegrown in Philly. And I've had an amazing opportunity to develop professionally. Had a tremendous career that spanned a number of different industries that gave me a lot of skills to then translate into my personal business. So I've crossed the paths of procurement, civil rights, business development, redevelopment on a state level. So I just fired 4 years ago my 9 to 5 after 2.5 decades working, yes, for the state of New Jersey at a very high level, focused on redeveloping urban cities across the state of New Jersey in reference to financing, commercial and mixed-use redevelopment in neighborhoods and offering technical assistance. During that 2.5 decade career, I was tapped for the last 13 years to build a business within state government. So that's where the entrepreneurship comes in. And I led a team around building the Redevelopment Training Institute, where people can come and learn, not people, but mayors, city council members, Jane Q. Public, and anybody in that sphere to learn how to do redevelopment. So that's the entrepreneur. Simultaneous to that, my husband, who's my partner, and my business partner, my life partner, we just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And our 40th business anniversary last year. Wow. So simultaneous to both of us working our 9 to 5s, we were building a real estate business, acquiring rental properties, just seeing the light many decades ago and just buying investment properties. Motivation was, how are we going to pay for our children's education? I had been laid off twice. My husband had been laid off once. How do we create our own economy? What happens when we retire and Social Security is not there? How do we create our own economy? So those were our reasons why to work a 9 to 5 and then 6 to midnight for decades to build our real estate empire. So that's the entrepreneur side, and the other was the entrepreneur side.
That's why I said I remember her several times. We bumped into each other several times, which is funny because we were sitting here like, "Don't I know you from somewhere?" Like, yes, we've been in the room several times together. So that's the amazing thing about business. You just keep bumping into people, never know when you'll meet them again. With that said, this week we have 3, I would say, real questions. Marie, please tell us what they are.
Okay, so what does it take to start a business was question 1. For our new businesses, just get their LLC. This is a question for you. And then question 2, how do you handle competition in your industry? And question 3, for the established businesses, how do you deal with the imposter syndrome? Please remember that everything we are about to say is general advice shared from our experiences. If for any reason you have any questions about the advice that we're giving, we highly encourage you to schedule a one-on-one with one of the 3 of us to further assess that information that we gave you and apply it directly to your business and your needs.
All right. So with that said, this is the time where you get to drop your likes, drop your comments, feel free to share, and of course, subscribe. It's free, so why not do it? Also, we encourage you to drop your comments in the questions in your comment section. As you see, one of the questions Question number 3 came from a direct comment, so we love that, and we'll respond throughout the week. And who knows, if you drop a good question, we will make it one of our feature questions live for next week as well.
Yeah.
With that said, let's boss up and have some fun. Question number 1, Maria, I'm going to pose this to you. Okay. This is for our beginners, people in the startup phase looking for a few tips before they dive into business. So that question is, what does it take to start a business?
Okay. So what I'm going to just say words and what they mean to me. So to start a business, I think you need discipline. You need to be resilient, and you need a little street because you have to be able to adapt to so many different personalities, different environments, different ways, different strategies. And if you know anything about someone when I say street, it's like a person can be put in any environment, in any hood, right? And they can survive. And in entrepreneurhood, you have to be able to adapt to your community, be able to adapt to whatever community that you're in, where you put your business, which is a whole different community. They may look like you, but they may not be you. Sure. And then you also have to be able to learn the language of that community, right? So going into a corporate world, maybe you don't want to have a corporate business or a corporate strategy to how you operate your business, but you need to understand their language. You need to be able to help them understand the words that you use and apply it to the way what they understand and the strategies that they operate their businesses with. So being able to have those skills, I think is what you need to start a business. Sure. Because how are you going to succeed without it? You know, there's so many ups and downs with starting a business, and so many times where we feel lonely, and we have to be resilient. When we got to dig ourselves up and make ourselves confident in our business. So many times that we want people to believe in our business, but we don't believe in it. Mm-hmm. So you got to get yourself out of that to believe in it first before you get other people. And so many times we feel like failures within our business. So there's not understanding that the success will come, but it doesn't come as fast as Instagram makes it seem. So I think some of those skills are the skills that you need in starting a business. I guess I'm just talking about the skills. Okay. And then of course, the paperwork and stuff, but I'm sure somebody else will.
Perfectly well done. Nicole, I'll turn it over to you. Same question. This is for like people that are brand new in business. They maybe haven't gotten started yet, so they're just looking to say, what do I have to do, or how do I get started in business? What advice would you have for them?
Sure. So I am going to speak from a very high level, and be transparent that I listen to a lot of motivation, a lot of inspiration. I read a lot, and I dig deep, right? Mm-hmm. And Tony Robbins, if you're familiar with him, talks about life, and we can, correlate that to anything. Life, business, relationships is 80% mental and 20% mechanics. Mm-hmm. Business is 80% mental, 20% mechanics. So I believe in order to start a business, you really have to have your mindset together. Mm-hmm. And I'm not only a weekend warrior, but I try to work out as often as possible. But one of the things I do is I'm a cyclist. Mm-hmm. So we think about the bicycle wheel. There's many different spokes in that wheel that makes it turn. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when we're talking about what you need to start a business, some of the main spokes in those wheels are, you have to commit to be an addict. Mm-hmm. You have to commit to be schizophrenic, and you have to commit to be tenacious. What do I mean? You have to commit to be a growth addict. You have to be addicted to growth in your business. Growing your product or service, growing your mindset, growing your network, reading, delving, growing. You have to be addicted to growth because your industry is going to change, your product or service is going to change, your customer is going to change. So you have to be committed and addicted to growing. Mm-hmm. You have to be committed to being a schizophrenic person. Okay, so I'm in real estate, right? And I teach and coach new and aspiring investors that you have to be schizophrenic. Why? Because you have to be a borrower, you have to be a bookkeeper, you have to be a landlord, you have to be a cleaner if you've got a turnover, you've got to be a negotiator, a good cop, bad cop. So schizophrenic, you have to be willing to play many different roles in a business. Right? Yeah. You can't be myopic and say, I'm only going to play this role. Exactly. If you're passionate about what it is that you want to do, you have got to buy into being schizophrenic. And then, there's many spokes, but another spoke is tenacity.
Mm-hmm.
You have got to be tenacious. Do not take no for an answer.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be tenacious about your passion, your mission, your commitment, your worth,
Mm-hmm.
right? And all that is laid so much around the psyche.
Yep.
And I'll talk about that a little later. But 80% mental, 20% mechanics, and you've got to be an addict and addicted to what it is that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think you ladies hit it both right on the head. My biggest thing was going to be passion. Like I just believe that fire that you have to have. People are going to say like you're crazy. You're not sure what you're doing. Like what makes you so special? Why do you think you're going to succeed?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to succeed at that. People closest to you will tell you sometimes you're not going to succeed at that. And if you let it get into your head, it will play with you to say like, oh my goodness, I can't do it. But what does it take to start? Mm-hmm. You got to make up your mind.
Yes.
You got to have a burning passion within you that just can't burn out. And it's things that when you're sitting there dead tired, when you're sitting there alone, when you're sitting there doing those things, the only thing that keeps you going is the fact that you are insane.
Yes.
You got to be like so passionate about what you're doing that nothing can stop you. I don't think there's a school that can prepare you. I mean, I went to school for business management. I went to school for architectural design. I think those things have helped, but the street portion, more than anything, I think has helped me exceed more so than my book knowledge. Just being in a room with someone and be able to read a room and being able to understand and say, okay, this person, you can overtalk this situation. You may want to have to undertalk this time. You may have to pull out those big words. You may have to pull out RFQs and different things like that. For some people, it's just a handshake and a coffee. So that passion and being able to understand what it takes to help you succeed in those situations is the number one thing that I think you have to have. And not too many books can really prepare you for that. A lot of things just come with experience and just a burning desire and an openness and a willingness to learn. You have to be willing to learn. Even at I think the highest level, I'm still a student. I still like to learn. I love to be around people that are more experienced and have that development because now I feel like a kid all over again. And I'm soaking up and I'm sponging up everything that they're saying. And it just lights that fire all over again. So I just love being in a room with people who are more talented than me, more experienced than me, and have more. They bring more to the table than I do because it just reignites me and makes me want to go harder. So I'm passion.
He is on tonight. Joe is on tonight, y'all. Wait, you got to do the second question.
I don't know if you want to add to it or.
Okay, I'm not going to add to that. Joe is on tonight, y'all. This is a fire episode, okay? All right, so let me read the second question because he got to take a breath after that one. All right. How do you handle your competition in the industry? So this is for the business owner who's cutting the ribbon, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they cut the ribbon to their business. Just got the EIN.
Feeling good.
Yes. And everybody keeps throwing this competition word at you. And if you know anything about Marie Rose, if you know anything about the Rose brand, I changed the word competition. I don't use it. Too many times are we told to look at our competitors. Why are we always going against each other instead of looking at how you can learn from that other business in the same industry as you? Why can't we collaborate? Why can't we work together? Why can't that other person or person in my industry teach me something, motivate me to go harder? Why they are not ever my competition because there's more money. We can speak of this all the time. They say it's so much money out here for everyone, but check your competitor. If there's so much money out here for everyone, then I don't have a competitor because we all gonna get this money together and I'm gonna show them how to get to the money within the same industry as me so that we can all be successful. So I don't like the word competitor. I don't compete. And that's how I'm able to excel in the industry that I am. And this year, I've committed to, like CEO Talks, like the Roundtable, like so many things, is to bring businesses and CEOs together so that we can share the resources no matter what industry you're in, so that you can work together and figure out how we can bridge two industries together to make a new industry, how we can come together and really elevate off of our dollars within our community instead of saying, oh, this person in my community is my competitor, but I'm going to go work outside my community. No, this is why we're here where we are. So this year is about us elevating. This year is about us coming together. This year is about collaboration. We don't have the word competition. The C has been replaced with collaboration.
So, you know, I will switch the order a little bit.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna say pretty much the same thing. I don't compete. I'm more of a collaborator as well. I love to collaborate, but to understand the difference, there is a level of competition. I'm a sports guy. I'm an athlete. So for however many years of my life, so I do love the iron sharpens iron approach. And I was sitting here nodding. If you saw my face, I was thinking even today. I had a meeting today with one of the CDCs, and they were saying that they use a local landscaper, so on and so forth. And what I did was they wanted me to take a portion of that work, and I said, well, how I separate people from myself from that particular thing is something that I like to do. So I know what my niche is. I know what I do very well. So instead, okay, you're going to award me this contract. I'll take the contract. I want to talk to that person, and I want to still do what they do, and I can bring them on as a sub for me, and still make sure that they get taken care of. And I get to collaborate and focus on what I do well and what I excel in, so that we're both taken care of, and we can now work together, opposed to me wiping that person out. So that's just a different mindset that we have now, I think, across the board. But that was just a live example that just really just happened. And I just say, if you want to separate yourself, understand what it is that you do well. It's not necessarily a competition thing, but what extended value do you bring to the table that can make you a differentiator in that particular thing? That's probably what I would say. So
I would co-sign everything that you just said and put a banner over it of collaboration over competition. Let's collaborate over competition, especially in the climate that we're in today. As a community, we have got to be intentional and very intentional, and intentional again about how we work together and understand, some of the challenges specifically in the business arena. My other comment would be to the question, just number one, everyone has his own of genius. And just like I mentioned, 80%, mental, 20% mechanics. Like, there's so much when you're in business, internal work that has to happen. Determining who you are, what you bring to the table, what makes your bulb shine bright, and really hone that and underscore it and bring it into the community with integrity in your business, having strong morals, delivering what you say you're going to deliver, over delivering, and just shining as bright as you can. You're going to separate yourself from the pack. Okay, we don't have to use the C word. You're going to separate yourself from the pack, and you're also going to attract. You're going to attract people who want to work with you, be on your team, collaborate with you in a natural way, opposed to the money grab or the contract grab and pushing one else apart or away based on greed.
Exactly.
So let's walk into this space of business. And I say business in a broad sense because I'm me incorporated. You're you incorporated. So if we start from our own space of individuality, me incorporated, your home, your family is your family incorporated. Then if you have a business, that takes it to a different level. So I believe that we have to start from a place of integrity, right? That. And I teach this and I say this to my clients, who you are is more important than your business. Because who you are is going to spill into how you conduct your business. And it's either going to repel or attract.
No, it's perfectly well said. I mean, what more do you add to that? That's perfect. Anything?
Yeah. So when Kim talked about like standing out from the pack, it made me have a visual of like a person leading the way. Can we hold it? Okay. A person leading the way. So one of us has to go through the door in order for us to build a bigger doorway for the rest of the people to come through. So when you're saying like we're not in competition, but somebody needs to stand out. And then once you stand out and you become that person, the important part is for you to learn that role and learn that position so that you can teach people behind you. You could teach the other industry so you can go and bring them all with you and lead the way for them. Somebody has paved the way for every industry, and instead we get to this point where, it's your competition. Well, if all of us are beating each other down to be the one to walk through the door, nobody's going to get through the door because eventually they're going to put a gate on the other side because it's too rowdy. They want it to stay calm on that other side.
Mm-hmm.
So dedicate, understanding what your skill is, and understanding that someone else may be better representing this, or how can I be like this with that person so I can get through the door and educate others.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I add to that?
I was gonna say,
Go ahead. Go for it. Yeah, as you were speaking, I was thinking about the need to focus on succession planning. How do we groom not only our peers, but like a mentee mentor situation or the next generation? If we're breaking barriers into business settings, and I have an 8-year procurement career at the University of Pennsylvania, working as a purchasing agent and managing their minority women inclusion program years ago. But the point I'm making is that as architects of that program of inclusion, we created a platform of mentor protege within the business community. So you had a majority supplier that we forced to mentee, a small business or minority-owned company, to bring them in together to create that succession of business. And it's so important, especially, I'm going to keep saying it again, especially in today's climate, we have got to be intentional about collaborating, thinking about succession plan, think about, feeding from the overflow of our cup. If we're doing well in business, how are we mentoring and exposing our industry to others?
I'm actually going to use an example to what both of you said, actually, because you kind of touched on it a little bit. So it's actually good that you did say something first. You also can't have an ego sometimes, because sometimes while that person goes out and that person does leave first, I know for a fact my work is subcontract work. I'm not a contractor on most contracts. So I'm intentional, like you said, to meet general contractors and different things like that so that I can have collaborative spaces with them. And what I do with them is I get the contract. Usually I get the contract first. And I'll work with the contractor to say, hey, this is the value that we can bring that brings more to them, which adds my value onto them so that they can do better, so that I can also do well within that situation as well. So a good way you can also not compete and collaborate is to, one, be humble enough to take like a back seat. And sometimes when that comes, sometimes you can't be in front. Sometimes you have to be in the back, and then add your value from behind to push forward. And you both win that way as well. So that was just something that I thought about when you said that.
Yeah.
Question number 3, and I really had a tough time with this one. Question number 3 is for the established business owners, different people who been in business for a few years. You did your thing, you've been in business, and just trying to understand like things are going well. Maybe 5-7 years, you're trying to hit that mark. And the question was, how you deal with imposter syndrome. I wanted to lead with the definition because I don't know about you guys. It really stumped me. Like I had to look it up. Like it's a psychological experience in which a person suffers from feelings of intellectual or professional fraudulence. I struggled with that one, but I found something. But it's something that was cooking in my head. But I struggled with that one because I struggled with it.
Yeah.
So
I spoke on imposter syndrome probably 2 episodes. So I was waiting for this question, y'all. Thank you. Because I want to put it out there that as many years as I have in business, I still suffer with imposter syndrome because it's there. Like some of the things, you ever have those moments where they say something is too good to be true, right? But it's for this, and as an entrepreneur, it's because we work and we work. So when something good just is given to us, we're like, wait, what? Because we just work and we don't live in the moment. And I think that's where my imposter syndrome is coming from. It doesn't mean that I don't know how I work. It doesn't mean that I don't know how many years I put in, how my experience has paid the way for me to be where I am. It means that I work so much that I forget to live in the moment. And so when I do sit in that moment, I'm like, wait, that's me? Is that my name there? Is that my picture? Because I just worked and I saw it as a task and I completed a task and I moved on to the next task. Because as you said, in entrepreneurship, we have to be addicted to growth. And so as we're addicted to growth, we're checking boxes continuously. We're checking goals off. We're checking tasks off that we completed. And a magazine cover is a task. It may be something that you have a goal to accomplish this year. But when you stop and you actually sit and see it, and you like, wow. So imposter syndrome is real. It's normal. It's just being able to understand what you need to do to overcome this imposter syndrome, because it may hit you once a month, it may hit you once a week, but taking the time to tune into self, be in the right mindset, pray about it, um, pray about it, just think, tune into yourself and understand that it's okay to have these moments. A lot of us are scared to have those moments with ourselves. You know, a lot of us are scared to sit in a quiet room in our office and just take in everything that we've done because we're afraid that the negative will come out, and the things that we've been shielding with tasks and covering up with tasks and we didn't want to deal with, they may come out, and we have to face them. But in reality, you have to have those moments where you sit in and accept the good and the bad. And once you accept those things, amazing things will come, because now you're allowing space. You're getting rid of the things that you just were covering, and you're allowing space for greatness to come. So, imposter syndrome is not necessarily a bad thing for me. It reminds me that I need to sit in the moment more. I've been in this space a little too long, so Shanice, go sit, or Marie Rose, go sit. You see, I got two names.
She's schizophrenic.
That's what we know. That's what we know it is.
Yes, so I need to go sit, and you know, you may call yourself something different, okay? But you need to remind yourself to go sit down, take a moment, regroup, and during that regroup, understand everything that you've accomplished and you did this week, or understand it may be daily for you. Oh my gosh, I really accomplished 10 things today. That's what we talked about last time. I accomplished 10 things today. How many people struggle with 10 things a month? You know, and as entrepreneurs, we move so fast and check so many boxes. So yes, I suffer. I'm going to say it on camera. Yes, I suffer from imposter syndrome. But the difference in my imposter syndrome is I know what I need to do to get out of that. I study myself just like I study social media, just like I study a mentor. I study somebody that inspires me. I study myself also. And I know when I start to have those symptoms, that can be known as imposter syndrome, to make me take a moment to tune into self. Those motivational speeches on YouTube, changing what your feed looks like on your social media, so only people with motivational talk pops up. That's important. You know, just having something that will constantly remind you to tune into self.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'll go.
Go for it.
And say that, you know, the most important conversations that we have are with ourselves.
Yep.
And we have thousands of them every day. I also believe that we are what we eat, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and that all feeds into our psyche. If you notice, I'm like a big, just psyche. It starts with the mind, right? And I have an interesting story to share, and to be transparent about.
That's what we want.
Imposter syndrome for me over my life and over my career. And so I'll start with the fact that I fired my 9-to-5 in 2020 during COVID after 23 years with state government, New Jersey Redevelopment Authority. I retired as Chief Strategy Officer. 2 people removed from the governor. Had a lot of opportunity to grow over those 2.5 decades, right? And I mentioned earlier that I worked at the University of Penn. I worked at SEPTA headquarters. I went to the state of New Jersey. I'm a fashion designer, artist. Like, I am multifaceted, right? In my professional career, though, I was challenged with imposter syndrome in the midst of growth and advancement in my career based on my natural zone of genius. I kept getting opportunities, right? When I was at the University of Penn, representing Penn regionally, I was tapped by SEPTA and was encouraged to go to SEPTA because they saw what I was doing. So I was in my zone of genius, right? Went to Drexel right out of high school for a year. Didn't finish, was derailed. Over my career, I matriculated 5 times into universities. Seeking validation through formal education. I am a triple L. I'm a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading 5 books right now simultaneously. I am addicted to growth and education. So I value education and have gotten it informally versus formally, because those 5 times, 4 out of the 5 that I matriculated to universities, I was looking for the formal validation for the zone of genius that I naturally had that was being recognized. And every time I went back to school, I was offered a promotion. People typically go to school to seek the career advancement, and I was getting that simultaneous. But in my mind, I still didn't have that piece of paper. I needed that validation. Then I got another promotion. Oh, I'm going back to school because I need that piece of paper. So that was the imposter syndrome in me, coupled with managing, running organizations, with PhD, subordinates, MBA subordinates, and here I don't even have a degree. Wow. But I'm being, my value by companies was recognized, and I was given the opportunities to grow. What got me through that was, to your point, just recognizing my growth and my accomplishments. They're not just giving me, these accolades. They're just not giving me these opportunities. I obviously am bringing value based on the combination of my informal education, because I would bone up in a minute. Like, I got a new position, I'm going into hibernation. I'm going to learn as much as I can about it and then apply it, to my team, to my staff, to the task at hand. But I still struggled with imposter syndrome. And until I got to a certain point in my career, I'm like, well, damn, I got the 6-figure job, 3 people removed from the governor, creating training institutes, company card, corporate credit card, the whole bit. Like,
you are who you are.
I'm where a lot of people are aspiring to get to. So Kim, stop it. Stop it, damn it. And you built a separate real estate company portfolio between 6 and midnight. You started another fashion design company for 10 years, working from midnight until 3 in the morning. It's like, you are doing it, so stop it. And I kept feeding myself positive messages that you're worthy and that you have a natural gift that is recognizable and has garnered you the success and the blessings that you were given. Be obedient to the universe and just receive it, and then pour it back into the community. So right now in 2020, I started my 3rd company, which is Legacy Real Estate Consulting. It's a training, coaching, and just motivational company from the overflow of all the experience and the blessings that I've had in my career and in my business. I'm just pouring it back into the community now. So again, we are where we eat, and I had to practice that with myself and insert and pour in positive messages and conversations to myself. I'll be speaking in May at a women's organization called the Hey Girl Conference, which is in this 4th year. The whole theme is a letter to yourself. So really